Help! I'm stuck in a computer. We are learning about HTML and CSS. This is the world's longest class ever. And we're going to look at the box model, how everything on the web is a box. First, we're going to do a little bit of review. So all HTML tags, all elements right here, MDN, HTML element reference. We saw this before, right? But all the elements, you could look them up on MDN. All CSS selectors, right? There's a list, but it's pretty much everything we've already looked at. Element selector, ID selector, class selector, attribute selector. We've seen the direct descendant, the +1, the sibling, right? Immediate sibling. And we've seen this one, which is any following sibling, an attribute. And then love ha, we saw the love ha. First line, first letter, we saw those selectors. So, and then all CSS properties. This is cool. So, you know, we've been looking at all the different CSS properties, CSS reference here. There's the, but here are all the different properties. So we saw, like, you know, border radius. And so here is, boy, there's a lot of border stuff you could do. Border radius right there, right? So there are all the CSS properties to style stuff. Just kind of giving you that so you start to get your head around the size of the space. And then we looked at the border property and border radius property, right? Border 1 pix solid red. And we saw display property, inline block, none. And now we're going to look at padding, border, and margin. But first we're going to understand the box model. So everything on the web is a box. Here's a visual analogy. Okay? And those boxes stack up either next to each other, in line, or on top of each other. In line if their element, display element set to inline, or on top of each other if it's set to block, display block. So elements have a default display characteristic, whether it's inline or block. And then each piece of content has padding around it. So this text here is maybe in a paragraph tag, right? You see the text? And it has padding between that text and the border. That padding might be 0, but you could adjust that padding. So you've got your content, you have the padding, and then you have the border. And then between the border and other stuff, you have something called margin. So you have padding, border, margin. PBM, not PBJ, PBM. And let's take a look at that. So this is 32. Let me just make a note of it. And if you're finding this online, you can get to everything we're doing at those links right there. And come down here, and we are now looking at 4, which is the box model. And so let's go code that up. And it's actually like 05, I think is where we're at. Close enough. Figure it out. Split vertically. Link. And what is it we want to see? Padding, border, and margin. So I'm going to do a div. Oh, I'm going to do a paragraph. Oh, I'm going to do a div. I'm going to do a paragraph. We'll put some text in that paragraph. And then I'm going to do a div. And I'm going to make my div width will be like, I don't know, 300 pixels. Height, 300 pixels. Width, height, border, 2 pix solid red. And my paragraph, I'll do that for I'll do my paragraph. Paragraph, border, 2 pix solid orange red. It's pretty close. Go with orange, a little bit different. And Just looking at this here for a second. And for all these, maybe, well, let's just see what this looks like right now. So that's what it looks like right now, okay? So, no, I don't want to use that. So now if I said for my div and my paragraph, so we have border, right? We have content and we have padding, PBM. We have padding, 0. I set that to 0. Nothing changed. What if I set it to like 50 pixels? Huh, interesting. Did you see that change? Right? Between the content and the border, there's the padding, 50 pixels. Okay? So even though you don't see it in here, that got bigger by 50 pixels. So there's PB, padding, border, margin. What about if I change my margin? Margin 0. Watch what happens. You ready? Watch the space between these two. So there's no longer any margin. What if I set my margin to 20 pixels? Ooh, it even popped off out here, right? So you have these boxes. And inside the box is content, and then between the content and the border is padding. So you got padding, border, and then margin between elements. Padding, border, margin. You got it? And what else might I say about that? You notice when I change this stuff, watch, it's all going to get small. And when I add it, it got bigger. Well, what if you're trying to like get your design to look a certain way and then you're changing the padding and the border and your thing keeps getting bigger, right? Because you added border to it, and so it got bigger, and then it threw off other elements that you're trying to design with on your page. You could say box sizing border box. And that's just a property that tells it, look, as my padding changes or as my border changes, don't change the width. So now with that on there, right? Let me put these back. We're going to comment all this out. Because without that, this is what it looks like. And I get rid of those two things, right? And it shrunk back down. But if I put those two things back on and add box sizing border box, watch what happens. The padding, the margin, padding, border, the border. I'm going to change this to border. Because it doesn't have margin, which is why we had to change inside. Border is 20 pixels, nothing now. Solid red. There we go. Now the size isn't going to change. No. Maybe we just don't have enough room, so it has to change. Yeah, it totally had to change there. Let me give you a better example of box sizing border box. Box sizing. That's a pretty good example. All right, so here, no padding. I add padding, my element grew in size, right? With box sizing border box, here's no padding, and I add padding. The size of my box didn't change left to right. It grew vertically, but left to right it didn't change. Instead, it shrunk my content inwards. You see how it shrunk my content inwards because I have box sizing border box? And here, right, without box sizing border box, I add border, this thing got bigger. with box sizing border box, I add border, the border gets bigger, but it pushes my content inward. That's what box sizing border box does. All right, so you learned about the box model, padding, border, margin, and box sizing border box.